From the smallest of insects to man's best friend, here are some amazing animal superpowers. Number 10. Dung Beetle, Super Strength. The term super strength can mean many different things. Speaking in terms of the dung beetle, it revolves around how much they can push around via their legs. The dung beetle is actually the strongest animal in the world because of how much weight it can move in proportion to its own body weight, of which it doesn't weigh much, for it is only about half an inch long and its average weight is about 0.75 ounces. If you wish to know how this was proven, an Onthophagus taurus dung beetle was put into an experiment by some scientists in London. They were aiming to test just how much strength the dung beetle had. By the end of the test, they realized that this dung beetle could move an object 1,141 times their own body weight. Allow me to spell that out. That would compare to a human. If an average human could do that, they would be able to pull 6 double-decker buses without much effort. If this kind of proportional strength sounds familiar, it's because you've likely heard about how another insect species, the ant, is able to do somewhat similar feats, but on a smaller scale to the dung beetle. All of this proves just how strong the dung beetle really is, even if it doesn't look like a creature with such strength. Number 9. Immortal Jellyfish. In the animal kingdom, there is a jellyfish that apparently has immortality. The scientific name for this jellyfish is Turritopsis dohrnii, and it has a very unique ability that allows it to be immortal. Mainly, it doesn't become mature. How this happens is thus. The immortal jellyfish, which is an appropriate nickname, will age until it's an adult. Then it'll go and mate with another jellyfish, and after it does, it actually reverts back to its younger form, or its juvenile form. After it goes back into this state, it'll start aging again until it goes and mates, and then it'll start all over again. Due to this repeating process, they are immortal. To be clear, immortality is defined by not dying. However, there are many catches to this. In the case of this jellyfish, it can still die by being eaten. In terms of aging, it cannot die by that path. In the recorded history of the world, this is the first and currently only creature to have this particular superpower. Many scientists are observing the immortal jellyfish to learn more about this ability, no doubt to see if it could be replicated in some form to help the human race. Number 8. Spiders' web strength. In Marvel Comics, Peter Parker has the ability to shoot spider webs out of his hands that allow him to swing from building to building. Some might think this is a gross exaggeration of how strong spider webs are, but they would be wrong, for it is a true superpower that they have. Granted, some spiders do swing like Spider-Man, but their true strength lies in their webs and how insanely strong they are. Standard spider silk is 5 times stronger than steel. What's more, there are some spider silks that are even stronger than that. It just depends on the species of spider, such as the Darwin's bark spider. This spider's web has a strength that's 25 times stronger than steel and can be woven into an item that is 10 times more durable than Kelver. There is actually a very real movement in the world right now to find a way to manufacture natural spider silk at a quicker rate and without hurting or killing the spiders, because this material could be used to not just make Kevlar, but also incredible strong bandages and sutures for surgery. Why would they use them for that? Because another superpower that the webbing has is it's immune to bacteria and disease, and it's waterproof. Number 7. Horror frog, bone claws, and regeneration. There is a frog out there in the world called the horror frog. It's also known as the hairy frog, and it's called this because of its unique offensive ability, one that allows it to have claws, which is not something associated with frogs. This superpower occurs because the frog actually mutilates itself on a regular basis by breaking the bones in its hands and feet in order to get the bones to protrude through its skin, giving it claws that are liked to cats. Such mutilation isn't unheard of in the animal kingdom, but for frogs, it's somewhat unique. But just like a superpower, the frog can retract the claws it made for itself, thus hiding its weapons from prey and predators alike. Though how this is done, or even possible, is unknown at present. These frogs are apparently so feared that where they are found in Cameroon, the locals will hunt them with spears to make sure they are in range of their claws. This particular frog is a lot like Wolverine, who has similar bone claws in his hands, which is an appropriate analogy because some scientists theorize that the horror frog actually has a simple form of healing. Being amphibians, it would not be surprising if some parts of the wound heal and the tissue is regenerated, said one scientist. If this is true, then the horror frog would actually have 2 superpowers within its body. Number 6. Cockroaches, radiation resistant. A common myth that has resounded through pop culture is that if a nuclear bomb were to go off, the only thing that would survive is a cockroach. But is it true that they are immune to radiation from nuclear bombs? No. But they are incredibly resilient to them. This was proven in many ways, not the least and most popular of which was during a test of the show Mythbusters. The trio of Grant, Carrie, and Tori went and exposed a group of cockroaches to radiation that would kill any human, and though not all of the cockroaches lived, many did survive. But why do cockroaches survive when others die? It's believed that it's because of their cell structure and how their bodies are formed. When a human body is hit by radiation, the body is affected in the soft tissue areas as well as other places like bone marrow, which makes our body break down by cell destruction. Cockroaches don't have that limitation, as their own cells are actually rather simple, and so their bodies are either not affected or affected at a much slower rate. Ironically though, the Mythbusters also tested other bugs like fruit flies, and they were found to be even more resistant to radiation than the cockroaches. So there are many insects that share this very special superpower. Number 5. Super speed. There are many fast animals in the world, including many like cheetahs that can keep up with cars, but in the terms of super speed, there's only one true contender, the Peregrine Falcon. This is a bird that has been clocked at a blistering 242 miles per hour, 4 times the average speed limit on the highway. To be specific though, this isn't a normal flying speed for the bird, or the horizontal speed of the bird as it's called. That's actually around 70 miles per hour, which is still fast. But where it obtains its super speed is in its ability to dive down and grab prey in the blink of an eye. This is all due to its body, which is quite literally designed to be the fastest thing alive. What the Peregrine Falcon will do is it'll tuck in its wings, still its head and feet, and just start building up speed at an impressive rate. And because it's going down at an angle and not straight down, it doesn't have to abide by the laws of terminal velocity. Though endangered, the Peregrine Falcon is one of the most feared birds in the sky, mainly because of its speed. Number 4. Fishing spider. Walking on water. The concept of walking on water is not new to animals, but for spiders, it's usually their key weakness, except for species like the fishing spider. It's known by other names too, like the dock spider, wharf spider, raft spider, but their superpowers is the same. Their hair is unwettable, which allows them to well and truly walk across the water. And sometimes they can even go underwater and climb up rocks while submerged because the water doesn't affect them like other animals and insects. The real use of this superpower, though, comes when it's hunting, for it doesn't go after insects, but rather it goes after fish of an impressive size at times. It'll walk across the surface of the water and then use its legs to breach the surface and lure the fish to them, as fish can often be attracted by stimuli like sounds or disrupted water. Once in range, the leg will actually grab onto the fish, as the top of the leg is actually a claw, and then throw it onto the land where it is helpless and the spider can then eat it. And because of its immunity to water and the way its body is built, it can stay submerged for 45 minutes without drowning. Number 3. Pit viper heat detection. Snakes are already known for their very refined senses, such as detecting scents with their tongues, but in the case of the pit viper and a few other snakes like certain pythons and boas, they can go beyond that. Their skin and nerves are so refined that they're actually able to detect the very heat given off by an animal. To put this in context, think about it like how when you are cold and you touch someone who is warm, you feel the heat. Now imagine being able to sense that heat even though the person is several feet away from you. That's what the pit viper and other snakes can do. This occurs by pit organs on the snake's face. These pits actually let the snake detect thermal radiation. The organ then sends the information to the nerves in the brain, and thus the snake can touch the heat of other animals, guiding them to either prey or away from foes. Humans apparently have a somewhat similar nerve receptor, but it's not as refined. Number 2. Dogs' precognition. The ability to see the future is something that has been debated widely among humans, because many humans have claimed to have this ability. Apparently, so do dogs, and this too is highly debated. Dogs have been recorded by many to sense danger approaching. Many have attributed this to their heightened sense of hearing and smell, and yet there are times when no such indicators have been detectable, and yet the dog would sense danger. An example was unintentionally shown during an episode of Mythbusters. Host Jamie Hyneman had a dog named Zero who detected danger in a small-scale experiment and made sure it wasn't in the area when it indeed did go wrong. Another form of precognition dogs are said to have this when they can detect when an owner is going to come home, again without clues like sight, sound, or smell. There was even a study done to show that they could indeed predict when the owner was coming home. Number 1. Sound mimicry. In the wild, there is a creature called the lyrebird, and it has the very rare and very superpower of being able to mimic the sound of just about anything it hears. This is because of a very simple reason. You see, the lyrebird has a very complex set of vocal cords. Not unlike how a human voice actor can change their pitch and range for a character portrayal, the lyrebird can do that to another level. They've been known to mimic the sounds of chainsaws, car engines, barking dogs, and human voices. They can also likely mimic the sounds of other animals that are within their habitat. Ironically, the lyrebird will actually use amalgamation of these sounds as a mating call to other lyrebirds. If you wish to go and test out its skills for yourself, you can find these 2 species of lyrebird in Australia. However, the lyrebird is actually a rather shy creature, so it may take you a while to find one. Thanks for watching. What did you think of these animals with superpowers? Let me know in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe and I'll see you next time. Bye!